I've been thinking a lot about something he said in March of 2021, Lindsey. And you have to remember, Biden had just been inaugurated. We just had January 6th. And the conversations on the right, both amongst conservatives like me, but also MAGA, was what now? What lessons do we learn from this loss? And are we going to move past Trump? Are we going to stay inside of MAGA? And someone asked him that. And he said, if we abandon Trump, we will lose half the party. To which I think I said at the time, like, promise. But I was struck by this because the half he wanted to keep was not the Adam Kinzingers, the Liz Cheneys, the Mitt Romneys, the good conservatives. They were already being pushed out. The half he was worried about leaving were the folks that showed up at the Capitol on January 6th, the insurrectionists, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the white supremacists, the ugliest elements that I think destroyed the Republican Party. And I think about that moment, and if someone of Lindsey's stature had said something different, had said, we don't want to be the party of comfort for these elements anymore. And if Lindsey had summoned all of his influence and power that he had accumulated for 30 years and got other Republicans to come where he was, it would have been tough. But could that have changed the trajectory of the Republican Party in that moment between these two Trump presidencies? I think about that a lot.
Yes, it would have. If Lindsey Graham would have stood up to Donald Trump, if the establishment Republicans would have stood up to Donald Trump when he lost in 2020, hell, had they had truly done it in 2016, it would have been differently. But just taking into consideration the fact that we're talking about 2020, post-Trump loss, into a new Democratic administration, post January 6th, and Lindsey Graham had a fucking choice. And he made his decision. He didn't choose to stand up and be the influential, lifelong Republican party leader that everybody had viewed him as. No. He chose to lean into the absolute worst elements of the Republican Party. He chose to lean in to the militia groups and the whites, like she said, the white supremacists. So when you guys out there tell us that we're not properly mourning Lindsey Graham, or even when you guys have an issue with the folks on the left who actually celebrate the passing of Lindsey Graham, you got to remember who the fuck he was. Lindsey Graham had a choice, and he made a choice to align himself with the absolute worst elements of our country, and he did so for political expedience and political survival. I still believe Donald Trump had some things on him as well that we're yet to see, but you don't mourn a man like that. You don't revere a man like that. You don't sit back and fondly recall the life of a man who did those things.